But I would say again, the number of deaths is much lower than I thought it would be. I'm expecting 100 to 200,000 deaths. Like, we're not even 100,000.
Oh yeah, but
so
that's
that's
probably
about 100. It says close to 100. Official was counting was 43, but with many missing and unknown.
Remember that the counting has been paralyzed since a few months ago because the system of like the institutions that does the counting is offline, you know. It's completely demolished. So yeah, the figure is probably close to the 200,000 by now, because there was an estimate of 100,000 also a couple of months ago, and like every day I hear about another massacre, like 50 dead or 100 dead. It's like a daily occurrence. So
that's true. But listen, there's millions of people in Gaza. So if the death toll is less than 100,000, this actually is, you know, whether you like it or not, as ugly as it is, it's not a genocide.
Yeah. No, but if
it was true that the Israelis wanted to kill everybody there, right, they could, right, and they haven't. So as ugly as it
bombing
is,
of the hospital, right, just purely civilian hospital. So there was a bunch of dead, only civilian. That was just what, 3 weeks ago. So they still keep doing it, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying there's no war crimes. I'm just saying that like the hyperbole about genocide is not, it's not made out of the facts. And like on this point, Gabriel, one of the issues that Israel has with Ireland, right? One of the reasons for this conflict is that Ireland actually made a submission to the ICC for them to change the definition of genocide, right, in the statute, which is a really, really weird thing to ask them to do if you think about it, right? It's like, why do they need to change the definition of genocide if genocide is made out? It's a little bit weird, right? And so I sympathize with the Israelis on that. It's like, that is a bit of a tacit admission that there's not a genocide. Now, that's not to say there aren't war crimes and that Netanyahu, you know, is a good guy. He's absolutely not, in my view. I think Netanyahu's done more damage to Israel than anyone could ever have imagined. And by the way, Netanyahu is not Semitic. His father is Polish, right?
Yeah.
He changed his name to Netanyahu. Problem. Right. Well, no, I'm just saying it's like all this hyperbole about anti-Semitism from Netanyahu. The dude's not Semitic. You know,
the
Palestinians and the Arabs are actually Semitic people. Netanyahu is not a Semitic person by ethnicity.
I haven't forgotten. For those people who have not watched DPA Open Mic from the early days, Toby's, when he first come on, he was ranting about Poland. So he had a thing against Polish people. So.
I do not have a thing against Polish people.
No, and one more thing. The problem. Just now we were talking about the genocide thing, right? My main thing against the genocide claim about the Israeli conducting genocide is that because the scale is so small, yes, they flatten the cities, but the number of deaths is not really at the scale of genocide. It actually makes the real genocides, like it's an insult to the real genocides that is currently happening around the world or in the past. Like if you look at the Khmer Rouge genocide, there is a freaking real genocide.
Which genocide?
Cambodia.
Khmer Rouge in Cambodia.
Oh yeah.
The Cambodia genocide, the Sudan one. You talk about the Rwanda. Those are real genocides. When you say the Israeli is conducting genocides, you are insulting the real genocides. That's the problem I have with
I understand your point.
It's not about the scale. It's in definition, there's an intention to execute everyone. That's what definition it says.
But they didn't.
What they did,
they allowed football in.
They are demanded civilians to move out. So that demand actually shows that it's not their intention. It's just who didn't move out, he didn't listen. They're collateral, right? That's the real legal excuse for them not to be a genocide.
Yeah.
But still could be determined as ethnic cleansing, which is not the smaller.
Oh yeah, there's war crimes there for sure, right? But there's just but I agree with Wyatt. It cheapens the word. It's like, if it's like everyone's a racist, everyone's doing genocide, and then it doesn't mean anything anymore.
You got all Nazis and Hitlers.
Cheapening the concept of genocide is pretty easy, because the concept of genocide itself is just a placeholder for geopolitical manipulations. I mean, like, you have all the
pretty much
crimes against humanity in the book, and then you have, apart from that, this concept of genocide that was really diplomatic negotiations between major powers after the Second World War, so as to like keep some sort of semblance of humanity for the genocidal powers that were the major powers that negotiated the world order after the Second World War. And it was just a convenient thing for them to state, so that they could like put something worse than what they were doing, so that they could like whitewash what they were doing, what the British Empire was doing, what the Dutch, like what the Belgian kingdom had done. Like, it was a whole deal of political negotiation, and it wasn't for humanitarian purposes at all. But to Wyatt's point about the proportion of genocide, like, I understand where you're coming from Asia. Like, you see what the Americans did in the Korean War, what the Japanese did during the Second World War, the Cambodian, the Laos, the Vietnam shit, and
what the British did in Tasmania.
You haven't
just
even lost.
Shout out to the British, man. The British killed every single Aboriginal person in Tasmania, right? That was a complete and total genocide.
And that's my point about genocide. That it's like a form of a diplomatic solution for their own crimes. And but I wanted to talk about a thing of proportion. So, like, say you have Korea lost millions of people in the war, but they lost what, like a 10% of their population. So maybe you don't consider it. But if I get to a village, like a tribe that is isolated, has their own particular culture, and I wipe them out from the face of the earth, maybe they were just, I don't know, 2,000 people. I just killed 2,000 people. Like, it's not a genocide, but I wiped out an entire bloodline and an entire culture from the face of the earth, and that's a genocide. You see, like in the literal sense of the concept, beyond like the legal shenanigans that the concept was invented by him.
I agree. The problem now with
just to finish real quick, the thing of what the Israelis are doing beyond the official body count, which is super underestimation by all accounts, the simple level of destruction, first the stated purposes, and then the complete destruction of all life-sustaining infrastructure. It's just like incompatible with the survival of that people. That's all I'm saying about like the genocidal thing.
So I want to add on to what Gabriel was saying. So the main problem with I hope that we don't dwell in this black hole for too long, but the problem with the genocide thing is a matter of the definition. If you think of it in the English sense, the English word of the genocide is what I'm saying. But if you look at the UN definition, that is not the English definition. That is the UN legal definition, which means to cover a lot of stuff. And I did make a joke about it months ago. No, you can literally apply it to any single power in the world. Every single war in the world, everyone is genocidal because it's too wide. People, I see in the live chat, people is pasting, copy and pasting what is the definition in the UN. You cannot use that definition. It's not real. Like in Vietnam, like the Americans wipe out the entire village, the My Lai massacre. Everyone died in the village. They killed off everyone, but that is still a massacre. It's still not even a genocide. Genocide is literally you're trying to kill every single person you see. Everything that moves, you kill it for no reasons. That's genocide. Like what happened in Cambodia, there's literally they're killing people for no reasons. Like you just keep killing. So Israel is not at that level yet. But I did also, of course, I did mention many open mics ago, I say that if the hatred continues to grow to one point, we will see genocide, where the Israelis just see all Arabs as evil and they decide to kill every single Arab that they see is moving, which is, of course, I think it's very hard to reach there. But yeah, coping.
Yeah, so you guys hear me? Okay, excellent. Yeah, I want to also move away from this genocide thing because Wyatt accurately pointed out that it is a black hole. It's not like one cannot talk about it, but one should be aware that it is indeed arbitrary, like he said about definitions, right? And so it's a matter of interpretation. So why do we end up in many black holes? Well, that's because many black holes, they are based on, it's a self-referential on subjective matters. So it's a matter of interpretation versus interpretation. And then there is no objective reference point. And then it goes around in circles.
Really quickly, I know you guys get your finger up, but I wanted to say this earlier. Nanyu, you raised an interesting point. You said before that like the Israelis may push out the Palestinians. Well, all the scamps in chat are having a whinge because, like, you know, Toby's supporting Jewish genocide and everything. Look, if I am aware of the definition. If the Israelis do that, right? If they do actually push the Palestinians out of the region, then they are in breach of genocide, right? It's like you don't actually have to kill everybody under the laws of genocide. If they actually push all those people out and eradicate the culture that is native to Gaza, right, that constitutes a genocide. And so this is why I don't see that Israel has that option.
No.
I'm not sure the world will accept that.
No, depends on how you do it. So if, let's say, Israel point the gun and say that if you don't move, we shoot. And that's the way how they push them out of Gaza, that is a genocide because you are literally killing them to push them out. So if, let's say, you just persuade them to go or you legally made an agreement and force them out, at most you can call it an ethnic cleansing of a region.
No, that's not the actual definition. Because it's not so much a destruction of the human life. Genocide also incorporates removing a culture from a territory, right? So ethnic cleansing can become genocide under the law if your intention is to remove that culture permanently. And so all the case that would have to be made under the law is that Israel intended to completely remove the Palestinian culture from that territory, right? They wouldn't have to be guilty of killing everybody there. So it doesn't matter how nicely they do it. If they try and sort of like wipe Palestinian culture off the map, they will meet the legal definition of genocide. And so this is what's so problematic with Israel. I don't see an end game that's good for them.
Why is the Palestinian culture?
Well, arguably it goes back to the Philistines, right? It's biblical.
No.
Yeah, like that whole region was.
It's not the same thing. It's isn't the same thing.
Arguable. I mean,
yeah, but it's like saying that the Singaporean culture is just Chinese. You know.
Yeah, that's
wrong.
The
same thing. Well, but it's the same thing as saying that the Palestinian culture is just Arab. It's like it's a locality. It has its similarities, its language, cultural, and whatever religious connections, but it has its particular territorial integrity.
So I although I accidentally detracted from something else, but you know if you talk about culture, Palestine culture right now is just hating Israel, largely. The whole society is built around moving through checkpoints, living a life under a certain like an open air prison kind of restrictions, and giving up your life to kill the Jews. Or to free
losing
your
house.
That is the culture. That is the culture of Palestine right now.
Well, that's what it's become. But there were Palestinians there in 1930 and 1920 and 1910 and 1890 and 1870 and 1700 and 1600 and 1500.
That's my point, man. My point is they developed to the point where the culture. This is their culture now, and you say that eliminating this culture is genocide. That is something is wrong. And genocide is have to kill people to be genocide. I don't believe in like just simply ethnic cleansing. Force moving people from one place to another is called genocide. Yes, legal definition is legal definition, but it is a weapon. Law is just a weapon. You have to put it so wide so that you can attack them in all different angles. If you talk about simply the word, the meaning, it's just isn't it? It's just killing people, killing a lot of people.
Well, turn it around. What if the Arabs said, okay, from the river to the sea, the Jews have to go. We're not going to kill them all, but they all have to leave Israel, right?
Yeah, it's ethnic cleansing, but it's not a genocide.
It is. It is under
No, it's
under
not.
the. I'm not. I don't mean by the,
That's
by
how you-
the colloquial definition, but
Yeah, we're
legally
going
it
back
is.
into
Right?
the black hole.
That's what I keep
Let,
saying.
let me
Well,
let me
I bring it up
let me make a quick
because
point.
the chat's bringing it up, you know, and the people in chat have got a point, right? It's
No,
like,
no, so that's my point. Legally, yes. UN definition, yes. I already read it many times. I think it's stupid. It's clearly a weapon.
Yeah,
The thing is,
I
it's a legal
already stated
definition.
that.
It's not a real human conversational understanding of what it is.
It's a geopolitical tool. And it's a geopolitical tool that's been abused so many times. Like Bosnia was a genocide and Kosovo was a genocide. And even the Russians and Ukraine were committing genocide. So that's why people can then bring it up and say, oh, look, Israel is committing more of this type of genocide than what happened in Kosovo, than what happened in Bosnia, than what happened in that what's happening in Ukraine. Like if you call genocide any single thing you don't like, then this is definitely a genocide.
I want to put an example. For example, legally, how do you consider something as a murder? You have to put in a whole list of ways to kill people. But the thing is, doing certain things in this list doesn't mean it's a murder. You understand what I mean? You can kill someone in many, many different ways. It's still a murder. If I lock you up in a room and don't feed you, you die of hunger, that is still murder. But no, but locking people up in a room is not a murder. You understand what I mean? It's legal definitions are meant to do a specific thing. It's a tool. It's not English. It's not English conversations. You know, when we say murder, people die. That's it. Genocide, a lot of people die indiscriminately. That's genocide. That's it. You don't like, oh, we lock you up. We don't give you food. So that's genocide. Oh, I remove your culture, push out our land. That's genocide. No, that's not. That's a legal weapon, because you have to put in a huge chunk of shit inside it so that you can actually point that person down and punch the law into them. If not, there's no way. Everybody will just escape from all the different angles to avoid getting charged. You know, that's why law and English is two different things. The definition is different. You can't use a legal definition for normal conversation. It clashes. It makes conversation become stupid. You know.
No, yeah, you can have normal conversations about legal language and definitions. I'm sure Toby knows about that.
Hang on this issue. Like I find it really dangerous to talk about this, because you get into the trap of talking about just wars, right? And you start talking about clean wars and precision strikes, and this is all bullshit. War is slaughter. War is hatred and the murder and the slaughter of human beings. And anybody that tries to dress it up nicely, they're probably selling weapons, right? So I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical of trying to sanitize any kind of war, right? And so I kind of agree with Wyatt on this. I don't like having legal discussions about the genocide either, because I think it's
because my concern
very ingenuous.
is not that Israel. My concern is not Israel killing not enough people. You know, it's like they kill a lot of people, and they've caused so much suffering. That is not
a lot of children. For
goodness sake, the point is, when the real genocide happened, then people get shocked by what a real genocide looks like. Because we have devalued the word so much. It's just like calling everybody Nazis. No, it's stupid. No, when you meet a real Nazi, your mind will be blown. You know, coping.
Yeah, but why? My point about that is that it's been abused beforehand, you know, and so like by using the definition that has been created throughout abusing the word for geopolitical purposes, that has made the use of the word valid in that same context.